All right. Am I defined by a road with a name? I learned in 9th grade, but have yet to ride. Because I declined to keep at this pace, and nothing feels safe here since you died. And I took the preacher's empty words to heart, and I fed them on the hollow scriptures left, and I sought to craft each lover works of art. But I am an embarrassment to them. Will I still believe in a place that is warm? Should I conform to meet its needs? But this doorway bleeds, and I'm terrified that what's on the other side's not meant for me. 'Cause I've seen the milky pits these feelings dig, from the bottom looking up after a fight. No one tells a boy his heart can grow so big. It bursts and leaves a canyon where it dries. I heard there's a light to guide us across. I think mine got lost with you, my love. So I'll sit to write the last song I ever will, in hopes my heart is still where you died. Can I be done? Can I be done? Good evening, everybody. So my name is Michael, and it is such an honor to be here and hear all of these inspirational stories, be a part of such a special night. When we were rehearsing last night, they told me I could keep my guitar on because I can kind of hide behind it. It gives me confidence, like anxiety meds with less side effects. So we'll see how this goes. So I was thinking about what it means to tell our stories that inspire. Usually, we lead with what is strongest about us when we introduce ourselves, right? Like usually when I shake hands, I say, "Hi, my name is Michael, sound engineer for the Union Colony Civic Center," or "I play for this band," or whatever. We don't usually lead with our weaknesses like we're doing tonight. Like, "Hi, my name is Michael, suffer of anxiety and clinical depression," or multiple suicide attempt survivor. But I think both of those aspects are equally defining parts of my personality, and they certainly inform each other, because I am a sound engineer, and I love to play music, and I am depressed, and I do think about calling it quits early sometimes. So I'm going to walk you guys through a couple of defining moments in my life to help you understand how this chemistry up here has been working for me. The first of which was when I was 8 years old. I was left in the care of an older man who's a family friend of the church, and everybody needs a babysitter now and again, right? Well, this older man would do increasingly escalated behaviors, such as watching us kids go to the bathroom or having us sit on his lap naked. touching us places that our parents told us were private. And being the oldest of the bunch and having a gut feeling about it, I said something. And the church decided to have a meeting about it. And the elders confronted the man, and he denied everything. And ultimately, there was no consequence, except that I had to grow up seeing the man who sexually abused me every day on Sunday. Fast forward to 16, and I'm acting out, I'm failing classes. I'm in a gifted and talented program, but I'm doing terribly because it has very little to do with school and more about this unrequited thing inside of me. And I can't sleep at night, but I'm sleeping in chemistry, and I'm taking out my frustration on my family and my friends, the defining moment of which landed me in jail between my junior year and senior year of high school. And I finished high school with an ankle monitor on, and then finished my youth in a treatment facility so I could sort out all of that stuff. Finally, when I was 22 going on 23, I met one of the people that I love the most in this world. And she was very much like me, stubborn and awkward and incredibly creative. And she also had some unrequited stuff that was playing with the brain chemistry. And so as our relationship grew, we grew close really fast, and we decided to get married and just drove down to the facility and signed the papers. Decided to skip all the formalities and just get it over with. And moved in together real fast, and it was wonderful and horrible because thanks to this thing that was eating away at us, we couldn't help fighting. And I regressed to the same kind of acting out that I was doing. I hadn't figured it all out yet. And she found herself in a similar place. And it all kind of climaxed one day when I was on the phone with my mother, wondering how I could fix this, how I could bring us back from this. The answer of which is to do what we're doing tonight, to be honest and to take accountability and to move forward. But I was stubborn, and she was in the next room swallowing an entire bottle of Tylenol. And put my world on pause for a minute. Everything's racing around me, racing through the red lights on the way to the hospital, racing through the emergency room doors, racing through the doctors, yelling, "What did you take? How much did you take?" Racing through vomit gurgling out of her lips that are now turning blue. And I'm incredibly grateful that she survived this event. But we still had much more learning to do, and ultimately I was divorced at 24. So when I was preparing and writing these things down, trying to think about how I could bring this together and try and inspire a room full of people with this, I was thinking about all the different ways that we can tell a story without really telling it. Some people tell their story by abusing drugs and alcohol, or committing acts of violence, or running for political office, or whatever. So you guys know, this is cool. This is like the opposite of that. This is a special thing. For me, I was telling my story by perpetuating the abuse that I suffered as a kid towards my family and my friends, and later towards my wife. But then I learned, and thankfully I've had music through this whole thing. My family is musically inclined, and music was this thing that I could keep coming back to as a different way to tell a story, a healthy way to tell a story. I began thinking about the way we can tell our stories through culture and community, because culture is the enemy of that stagnance that would keep us in that place, that keeps us cycling with abuse. So some people choose to spread culture through painting. See the vivid reds with finger painting symbolizes angst, or maybe a 4-year-old did it, I don't know. Some people like to tell jokes, like I heard one the other day that I love. Do you guys like impressions? Why? That was Socrates. Some people like to write. I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I've always loved that one. Some people even make films with whole crews of people to deal with this stuff. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to starting a metal band, I think. I wasn't paying attention at that last part. So for me, the thing that always resonated for me was music. Music was there to help me understand my abuse because other people were telling stories of abuse through guitars and drums. Music was there to help me understand my anger and my frustration because other people were angry and frustrated and other people made mistakes that they had to own up for. And music was there to help me understand brushes with death and not being able to make things work out with people that I loved. So there's this thing that I heard a lot growing up, and maybe you guys heard this phrase, and it never sat quite right with me, you see, because whenever something went wrong, I heard a lot of people in my life who told me, that's just life. Life sucks, you know? Sound familiar? Well, that's just life. Well, sometimes life is growing up and seeing the man who sexually abused you every day, every Sunday at church. Thankfully, music was there for me to say, it's okay to be scared sometimes. It's okay to be scared sometimes. And there's a safe place for you. And sometimes life is being angry at the things that happen to you and acting out. Sometimes life is spending time in a treatment facility, in jail, while your friends go off to college. But music was there to say it's okay to be angry sometimes. It's okay to be angry sometimes. And there's a place that's safe for you. Sometimes life is staring into the one you love's eyes while they pump pills out of her stomach. Sometimes life is being divorced at 24. And now I'm 27, and I'm really grateful that music has always been there to tell me it's okay to be sad sometimes. It's okay to be sad sometimes. And there's a place that's safe for you. Finding community in music saved my life over and over again. And I could tell you guys about other defining moments in my life. The strong spots that I mentioned earlier. Like when I got to go to Austin, Texas and play to an entire club full of kids I've never heard before, opening up for a band that I used to love in high school. Or the time that I got to run sound for Vice President Joe Biden, and he shook my hand and said thanks, and remembered my name. So I'm really grateful for that, but out of all of this came a challenge that I wanted to impart onto you guys tonight. And that is to think about your story, think about your weakness, think about the art that you create, that your friends make, and think about how that could save someone just like it saves me every day that I hear your stories. So thank you guys so much for being here. They gave us this beautiful gift backstage before we started the show where they gave us all these little notebooks. I'm going to bring mine out front at the reception, and I'd love you guys to write whatever you like in it. Share with me a little piece of your story because it inspires me. And I know that the way ahead is dark, and sometimes it's confusing. And so I wrote about that, a brand new song that I'd like to leave you guys with, in the hopes that we're going to find our way through this. Appreciate you. I've been thinking of home and how the places where I've crashed never had the name to match. Searched inside of my bones for the missing hours of sleep I cannot seem to keep alone. On this land, this road, I've been thinking of death and how it keeps taking friends but skips over my head. It's taking all I've got left to keep from quickening my pace so I can finish out this race alone. On this land-laced road, I've been writing this down to keep my head from going black with the things I can't take back. It helps to say it out loud that I love you more than I hate myself, so why should I sing anything else? I will find my way home on this land-laced road. We will find our way home on this land-laced road. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night.